What actually we will be learning in our today's session is regarding the another vulnerability, which is DLL injection, right? Now, there is bit difference between the thing which we had learned previously and the topic which we are going to learn today, right? So the previous one which we had understood was DLL hijacking, right? What actually is the difference? Now, at that point of time, within the DLL hijacking, what we had understood was how to hijack that particular DLL before executing that particular process. Okay, so basically what we had understood, we had taken up the application, we had understood where exactly that particular DLL has been where that particular application is looking for the DLL, right? And we had replaced the DLL with malicious DLL, and basically the application, the vulnerable applications, right, which is having the vulnerability, they will be executing that particular DLL instead of the correct DLL. That is what we can call it. That is what the process of DLL hijacking is. Now, when it comes to DLL injection, right, so what actually we'll be doing, instead of before going forward and replacing those specific things, here we will be taking up live the application, right, the specific application which is already in the execution stage, and basically the application will be definitely taking up the multiple DLLs while executing, right? So at that point of time, whatever DLLs are running, injecting our malicious payload within that particular DLLs, right? That is what we can call it as an DLL injection. Previously, what were the things which we were doing? We were just going forward and replacing that particular DLL before executing the application. Now, during the execution of the application itself, while application is in the running state, we will go ahead and we will take up that particular DLL which it is calling, and basically at that point of time we will try to inject our malicious code within that particular DLL files. We will see whether it is working or not. Okay, so that is what we will be doing in our today's session. But before jumping into the practical part, let us understand what actually DLL injection is, what are other specific things, why it occurs, and then we will go forward and understand how we will be able to do the same thing. First of all, you guys are already knowing what actually are DLLs, right? DLLs are dynamic linked libraries. They are typically used by the application to execute some or another code, right, by the application itself. So at that point of time, it will make the application much more dynamic, right? It will make the application much more modular. It will make the application much more faster, and that is the main reason why applications use DLL on the first place. There were two types of DLLs. First one was operating system level DLLs, which were utilized by the client application to take the permissions from the operating system, and second one was application based DLLs, which will be given to the operating system by within the bundle itself, from which it will be having the application level functionalities, and basically it will be utilizing those DLL code to execute that particular functionality. Now, within the DLL injection, basically what we will be doing, what are the steps which will be happening in the backend? Typically, let's assume there is one of the process which is process A, right? This is the application, or this is process A is that particular process which is utilized by the client application to go forward and completes its own functionality. What we will be doing is basically we will be first of all attaching our malicious process with that particular process. We will allocate the memory for our malicious code. We will copy our malicious DLL code within that particular process, and we will execute that particular process. So what will happen is ultimately that particular code will be executed within that DLL file, okay, within that memory space which was allocated by that application, and at that point of time application will be going forward and validate whether it is working or not, or how actually it is having that particular details. So basically, let us like now we had understood what are the steps. Now let us understand more in detail within the steps and understand what are the key factors which are responsible for that particular thing. So typically when it comes to the attaching those specific process, right, attaching the process within the client application, there is one particular thing which is open process, which our malicious thing will be like our malicious code will be utilizing. And basically what it will do is to attach that we will be utilizing this particular function, which is open process, where our executable file, right, will take up the functions like it will create the thread, it will query the information, it will check the for it will take the read and write permissions, and those specific functionalities will be available within that particular thick client application process which is available. Once the allocation is done, right, once that particular process has been opened within the thick client applications process, what the next step will be to allocate the memory within that particular process. So for that, virtual alloc memory, right, this is the function which it will be utilizing to go forward and take up that particular memory space within that process itself. Once the memory is allocated, we need to write the malicious DLL, right, within that particular thing. So write process memory is the function which will be utilized, and basically there the contents of the malicious DLL file will be copied within that particular process, and that will be executed later on. So to execute that particular process, basically create remote thread and create the thread X will be utilized, and basically the DLL will be executed at that point of time. So now that we had understood what actually is DLL injection and what are the steps for DLL injection, right? Let us go forward and let us identify how actually that particular DLL injection will be doing. For the same thing, what we will be doing is, again, all these particular things are already available. Okay, so basically we will be having one of the application, which is injector application. Now, as we had understood previously, right, that this thing will require a specific separate process to do all those specific details, right? So process B will be doing all those specific things. It will be allocating the memory, it will be writing the DLLs, it will be going forward and executing the DLLs. So that particular process B will be a malicious executable file which we will be having at that point of time. So that is where injector application.exe will be coming up. So this is the one. Again, it is having all the things which in the backend which we had discussed already, right? All these particular 4 steps, the code of them will be already available. Then the malicious DLL will be coming into picture. Now here, the same malicious DLL which we had understood in the previous one, right? The DLL hijacking one, right? The same DLL can be used here. Again, this is the same DLL itself. And also you can use your Metasploit frameworks DLL, right, in case if you have created. So that particular DLL also can be used. DLL can be anything. And then basically the application which we will be utilizing. So here we will be utilizing Notepad++ for this particular demonstration. Again, the link for all of them will be also available within the PPT for you to practice and download all those things. Now, what are the steps which we'll be doing? Previously, what we were doing, we were taking the process monitor, identifying those specific things, right? So here we will not be doing all of those specific things. What we are going to do, first of all, we will go forward and execute that particular process where we want to inject those specific things. So we will open our application, which is Notepad++. Again, the same thing which I have shared, I have downloaded and installed here just to save time because it might take longer. This is the application which we want to try. Then the second step will be to go forward and take up our injector application, right? The application which is available, and basically that injector application will be taking up and will be seeing how actually it will be taken up, right? So basically we will go forward, and again, I have kept downloaded all those specific things into one folder for you to understand properly. So we will open injector application. Again, this is not having a GUI version, but typically we don't require any kind of GUI within this application as well. This is a simple script with all those specific functions which we had discussed. So we just need to enter the details, and it will try to inject the DLL for us. Now here, the first thing which it is asking us is name the victim process where we want to inject the DLL. Okay, so the name of the process is Notepad++. So we will just enter Notepad++, right? Once it is identifying if there is any kind of spelling mistakes or typos, right, from here itself it will throw you the error. But if it is correct, here it will ask you that name or enter the name of the DLL which you want, which we need to be injected. So typically the any kind of DLL, whatever you had created, either you had created from MSF Venom or to specific places, right, or the one which I have shared, you have downloaded it, we can just keep it there. So in this scenario, the name of the DLL here which I have kept is virus.dll. So what I will just enter is, I will enter virus. This is just the name. What actually this means is it will create that particular type of process within this notepad plus plus file, right? So it actually does not matter. Any name you give, it is fine for us. We will enter that particular thing and then it will ask us for the path for that particular DLL. So here I have kept that particular thing within the desktop. So we will go to the desktop, we will click on OK. And basically within few seconds what it will do is, here you can see injection succeeded, and you can see that that particular pop-up has came up, right, where the in your system has been infected, right? So instead of last time we had kept the output pop-up as your DLL is hijacked, here we had kept something like your system has been infected. Anything can be modified, right? So basically we had kept that particular thing, and this is how we are able to see. So similar manner here, what actually are the things which this particular application has done. It has taken the process, it has created that particular space within that particular process. It has allocated the memory into that. It has injected the contents of this DLL file within that particular process, and it has executed it. And here you can see if I this pop-up is coming from which place. So here you can see there in Notepad++ itself. Here if I can show, in Notepad++ itself, okay, basically there are two pop-ups. So basically there are two things, right? So the first one is the one which we are seeing, and this is the second one. Now even though if I'm closing this one, right, and basically we are seeing, so again this is from the Notepad++, and what we had done with this particular DLL is setting up in the loop, right? So if I just click on it, it will again give me the pop-up, right? So likewise this is the loop. So it is never ending loop. So you can just restart the machine and this will go off. But yeah, basically this is how we will be able to validate. Now instead of this particular DLL, you can go ahead and you can take up your DLL and you are good to go. You will be able to validate your particular DLL, and you will be able to take the remote access of that particular machine as well, reverse shell and all of those kind of things can be done at that point of time. Now, before jumping forward, let us see how actually the things will be looking like if the system or if that particular application is not vulnerable, right? So how actually it will be looking like. So let me just close this one. Again, you can see the DLL has been injected. So typically it will be showing. I will just restart it to get out of that particular loop. So we will be seeing that how if that particular process is not found, right? So at that point of time, how we will be able to get that particular result and what actually will be the result which we will be getting, right? So from that we'll be able to identify. And it has wait for some time for this particular uh, system to get loaded up again, and then we will understand that particular part. Okay, so now what we will be doing is, let me just open our specific, again the same application, right? And basically what we will be doing is we will go forward and we will take that injector application. And now what I am doing here is, instead of typing the same name, right, what I am typing is in capitals _++, right? So at that point of time here you will be able to see, so process is not running, right? And please make sure the process please make sure the process is running try steps, right? So even though if there is a bit of a spelling mistake as well, it will not be able to identify, and you will not be able to go forward and get that particular result as well. Let us see within Notepad, official Notepad, and let us validate whether that particular process can be injected. So we will open Notepad. We will open again the specific name of the DLL which we have taken up. We will click on OK. So here, so if the application is not vulnerable, right, then it will be showing up injection failed, waiting for the process, and then injection failed. So press any key to exit. So if you're pressing, it will just exit out, right? So here you can see there is no specific pop-up or those kind of things which are available, right? So this is how we will be able to validate our DLL injection here. Any doubts, any queries before we jump into the remediation part?
No.
Actually, one more thing, like यहाँ पे हमने कैसे किया है कि previously it was like हमें पता था कि it is file not found on that particular
Correct,
path, you know.
correct.
Then यहाँ पे हमें ऐसा कुछ करना नहीं है,
नहीं
खाली
करना।
चेक करना है कि प्रोसेसेस कौन से रन हो रहे हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल कोई भी प्रोसेस हो हमारे प्रोसेस मॉनिटर का, वो उठा लो, हमारी जो सपोज रिवर्सल की नहीं है और जो भी वर्नरेबल डीएलएल है उसको देना है, एंड देन रन दैट एप्लीकेशन, दैट्स इट, राइट?
Correct,
बट
exactly,
अभी
exactly.
एक है कि मे बी, मतलब जस्ट करेक्ट मी इफ आई एम रॉन्ग, मे बी वन एप्लीकेशन के मल्टीपल प्रोसेसेस रनिंग हो सकते हैं.
मेन प्रोसेस को ही चेक करना है,
मेन प्रोसेस को ही, मतलब
नहीं
चाइल्ड को नहीं ये करना है, मेन
चाइल्ड
को
को
ही
नहीं
करना
करना।
है.
नहीं नहीं नहीं, अगर
ओके.
मतलब ये चाइल्ड में ही अफेक्ट करता है ना, तो मेन प्रोसेस को ही करना है। अगर नोटपैड प्लस प्लस है तो नोटपैड प्लस प्लस में ही करना है। अगर नोटपैड प्लस प्लस के अंदर कोई भी एक अलग सा CMDLI यानी या ऐसा कोई प्रोसेस बनता है तो वो इतना नहीं, क्योंकि वहां पे ये मेमोरी या फिर एग्जीक्यूशन वहां पे नहीं हो सकता। बेसिकली हमें मेन प्रोसेस में ही हम ये सारा एग्जीक्यूट करवा सकते हैं, इसीलिए।
ओके. एंड सपोज अभी इसका क्या है कि वो रिमोटली कैसे कर सकते हैं? दैट पर्सन हैज टू बी ऑन दैट मशीन, राइट, टू एग्जीक्यूट इट.
यहाँ पे मतलब अगर कोई स्पेसिफिक ऐसी जरूरत नहीं होगी कोई मशीन को एक्सेस करने की, राइट? पर यहाँ पे बेसिकली क्या रहता है कि अगर वो स्पेसिफिक DLL फाइल भेज दिया है और हमारे पास एक्सेस कंट्रोल है, राइट? ये टिपिकली कहाँ पे यूज होगा कि अटैकर्स के बैकडोर बनाने के लिए, राइट? अगर उनके पास ऑलरेडी सिस्टम का एक्सेस है, वो इस कोई भी एक पर्टिकुलर एप्लीकेशन जो लेजिटिमेट है वहां पे वो बैकडोर बना के इस तरीके से DLL अपना DLL जो है वो लोड कर सकते हैं अपने आप
ओके,
को
मींस
हाइड करने के
ऑलरेडी
लिए।
शुड हैव एक्सेस या बैकडोर करने
हाँ
के लिए, मतलब
हाँ,
टू मेक अ पर्सिस्टेंट एक्सेस टू द रिमोट,
सही है, सही
रिमोट सेटअप वाला.
सही।
ओके. राइट, मींस जब वो ये करते हैं गेट अ होल्ड ऑफ मशीन, देन इन ऑर्डर टू हैव अ गेट अ पर्सिस्टेंट एक्सेस एट दैट टाइम क्रिएटिंग अ बैकडोर,
करेक्ट
तो ये इंजेक्शन अटैक आ सकता है उसके
correct
लिए, हेल्प
correct
के लिए.
DLL
ओके, गॉट इट.
hijacking has different scenario, right? Basically there, even though remote access is not there, they have shared that particular DLL file. If the user is executing it, they will be getting the reversal, right? So basically there
यस.
it will be used to take the access of the system, and this will be used to have the persistence within the system.
सिस्टम, गॉट इट, यस.
Okay. Okay, now let us understand the remediation part. So basically within the remediation, basically there is one thing called data execution prevention. What actually is this one? Typically this will be used for by the applications, right, to go forward and this allow the execution of separate DLL files within the application itself, right? So at that point of time, here if the application has data execution prevention enabled, so at that point of time what will happen is application will only be taking up the libraries or allowing that particular DLL files which are available from the official Microsoft or from the specific authors to go forward and take that. It will not be allowing any kind of third-party applications to go forward and get that particular details. Later on, during our next sessions, there is the client misconfigurations topic. We will be going forward and understanding how to check for this kind of security features, whether they are enabled or not, right? So basically there we will be able to identify how actually we can see whether it is enabled or not. But definitely if it is disabled, we will be able to do this DLL injection, and typically they need to enable the same thing for their application to go forward and not load any kind of third-party DLLs. This is the first and very important thing. On top of it, they can add multiple layers of security where they can improve the security or the process methods from which they will be allowing. For example, here we have taken virus.dll. If they are having the specific DLLs, they can go forward and they can take that particular things and they can whitelist that these are only the DLLs which we will be having, and basically they will be able to get that particular details updated within the application, and application will not be allowing any kind of separate DLLs to be loaded within the application itself. Last thing which is again added layer is they can statically have the memory space. Now typically what happens is whenever that particular DLL is injected, right, whenever there is the process which is allocated, right, so this will be in the separate memory, right, and every time this memory will be different. But if they are having their own DLL file, they can allocate that, okay, I want this particular DLL file, I want this particular DLL file to be loaded into this particular memory itself, right, into this particular memory address itself. So they can go forward and do that, but this will be a bit more complex for the developers to get that particular details, because for every DLL there might be multiple DLLs which might get loaded within the application. Typically they will be requiring to add those specific memory addresses for all those specific applications, right? So this might be difficult, but even though this is one of the extra layer of security which they can do. The main thing is if they are implementing or if they are enabling data execution prevention, this particular vulnerability will be remediated, and they does not have to do anything else. But yeah, in case if they want to add more and more security to it, they can go forward with the other techniques as well. Okay, so this is majorly regarding the DLL injection. Any doubts, any queries, anything, guys, till now?
So there is a point too, actually. Is it talking about the whitelisting of DLL? Means just want to ensures that process method assess security permission throughout the application.
Correct, sir. So basically, the specific methods which are being utilized, right? So here, what will happen is whenever there is any specific type of DLL which is being called, right? Either it can be whitelisted based on the specific DLL file which is available and the path of it, or other specific functionalities which can be available. So we had discussed again this particular functions, right? Which is write process
Right process.
and those specific type of memory allocation open process. So typically they can implement that. If they are requiring that particular process, they can enable it. Otherwise what they can do is they can blacklist those specific process to go forward. And so if there is open process is blacklisted, right, any kind of third-party application will not be able to go forward and implement or allocate some specific type of memory and take that particular process itself, right? So ultimately it will not be having that particular injected file itself. Likewise.
Okay, and what other functions they are using? Open and then write to miss. Does it require? Yeah,
This one,
create remote thread.
create
Okay,
remote thread.
integrate
These are only the ones. Write process
write
memory,
process
load
memory,
library,
load
get offset,
library,
and virtual alloc
virtual
x
location,
and open.
execution. Okay.
This one.
Hmm. Okay, suppose if we ask them, just remove this process, if it is not actually required, then does it help us to prevent this,
Yeah, then it will be prevented. Then
Yes,
it
yes,
is not
because
an
it
issue.
will not. Yeah,
Correct.
yeah. Even out of them, like there are 4 to 5, out of them, if anyone is missing, then it will not able to execute, right?
Correct, correct. Exactly. If
Okay.
even the first
Hmm.
is not loaded, right, open process, then also it is good to go. There is no separate requirement.
Okay. Okay, got it.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you,
Any
Keval.
doubts, any queries, anything, guys? No? Let me share all these things. I believe last time you were not able to download these payloads due to some Google Drive security. What I will do is I will share all these things here so that in case uh, you can just download it now so that once you want to go forward and practice, you can just directly do the practice itself. So I will just download it here and share it with you guys. Notepad++ I'm not downloading because anyhow it is available from the official site itself. You can just go ahead with the link. It will start the downloading. I'm just sharing you DLL and that exe file and the PPT. So you guys can start the practice as well. File log for security reasons. Can you try checking this particular file if you can download it? Okay. Have you guys tried this drive link?
मैं ट्राई करता हूँ.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, actually मैं download करने का ये कर रही हूँ, download anyway. Let me check whether it is getting downloaded or not. Okay, actually it is disabled for me because it started downloading some way, but make sure that injector. Okay, let me keep it. Yes, let me keep it. Let me check whether it is downloaded. Okay. Okay, able to download. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Injector application exe.
Sure. So I have shared the DLL file and this the PPT. You can download those things, and then we can learn the new topic from our next session.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Keval.
Welcome. Have a great day, guys. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Yeah, bye.